Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the WeSportin podcast. And today we're bringing back an old series of baseball with dummies. And as you see, my boy Drew's here. He knows baseball, but he doesn't know it as good as me now because I'm him and I know baseball like that now. And I've been teaching Drew things because you always got to teach the people that taught you. Ain't that right, Drew?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Nico. That's exactly what's happening.
So, guys, we're discussing today probably the biggest thing going on in the MLB right now, which is Juan Soto and where he'll play next year, or where he's going to play this year, where he's going to play in the next week or two, because we don't know. So Drew's going to start off of where he thinks he's going to go. And I think we personally should, before we do it, give in a little backstory of why Juan Soto wants out. Me personally, we're from the research that I've been doing on Juan Soto. I think it's a couple of things, but I think the one thing that's completely on the table is the contract that the Washington Nationals offered him. It was a 15-year, $440 million deal, and when you break it down, the per year annually contract, I think that's the issue. Drew, wouldn't you say so? Of how much money he's getting paid that per year?
Well, I definitely think he deserves the money. It's 15 years, 440 million. That'd be the biggest contract in the history of baseball
Mhm.
on every single metric. And Juan Soto absolutely deserves it. He's a generational talent. And if you're the Washington Nationals, you want to lock him up for as long as possible. However, if you're Juan Soto, you look at what Washington's done. I think it's the organization lowballing him. They offered him a contract worth significantly less before the lockout. Juan Soto couldn't come to an agreement because reasons, and the lockout happened.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, the Washington Nationals say, hey, here's significantly more. And Juan Soto goes, no, I'm going to see what I'm worth, and I'm going to go explore their options. And if he doesn't get traded at the deadline, he can always explore free agency when that period of time comes. So
Right.
for Juan Soto, the possibilities are endless. And if I want to go play somewhere where I can go win a ring and actually play competitive baseball, where a team that could offer me like some potential suitors, like both New York teams, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, St. Louis, they're like, the possibilities are endless, and any big market team would be foolish not to check in on Juan Soto.
Right.
If I'm Juan Soto, why would I sit on my laurels and be stuck in Washington when they're really not doing anything of note? They traded everything of value except for him. So
And Josh Bell too, who is also on the trade block for the Nationals. Also, Josh Bell.
yeah, Josh Bell, I think, is inevitably gone. The Washington Nationals are going to continue to be sellers, continue to stock up on prospects or whatever the heck they're trying to do. But yeah, if I'm Juan Soto, it's very clear that I want out.
Yeah. So I mean, guys, we're gonna just go through it, and like Drew said, one of the New York teams is in the running
Both
for
of
it
them,
now.
both of them
Yeah,
are.
both of them. And here's the thing: I feel yes, they are both in the run, but I'm not gonna give it to the Yankees to get them, nor am I gonna give it to the Mets to get them. I personally believe that if we're looking at if I'm looking at a team who could use a guy like Juan Soto, we're gonna go stock up in either San Diego or LA. I think he's gonna go to probably San Diego or LA. Now, probably LA. I do believe since Cody Bellinger has probably been ever since his MVP season has been one of the most inconsistent baseball players ever since his MVP season. He's had the most ups and downs in the world. Obviously, Cody won't be in the trade, but I'm saying, but they could use Juan Soto. Wouldn't you agree, Drew, to help that consistency that once was Cody Bellinger? They have Mookie Betts there too. Wouldn't you think that throwing in a Juan Soto is going to easily help that outfield to be obviously one of the most lethal outfields in MLB?
Well, the Dodgers are already stacked. And of course, the
Mhm.
rich are just get rich because last year they made a killing off the Nationals with Max Scherzer for half a season and Trey Turner, who continues to be on the roster.
Mhm.
Are the Washington Nationals going to take the prospect haul? Probably. Are
Yeah.
they going to accept Cody Bellinger, giving his how he's recently fallen off? Yes, he's a former NL MVP, but he has not nearly replicated that same level of play.
Right.
So, are they going to allocate for? Yes, the LA Dodgers have resources, but is it going to be enough? Because this is Juan Soto that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Um, you're going to need plus, plus, plus. You're going to need a big name. You're going to need essentially send the farm is what
Yeah,
you're going to
well,
need.
we do have a trade offer actually. So this is a per the Game Day MLB for those who don't follow the Game Day MLB. Really good, reliable account that I always go through to check baseball and everything like that. So they have Juan Soto and Patrick Corbin both going to LA. Then the Nationals be receiving Dustin May, relief pitcher, Bobby Miller, relief pitcher, Andy Pages, Miguel Vargas, and James Outman. Now, Dustin May is a solid rotational pitcher for the Dodgers, and Bobby Miller, I believe, is still in their farm system. Still, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
along with Andy Pages and Miguel Vargas. I do think though that if we're looking at that deal. I really feel like they're not getting enough out of that. Drew, what do you think? Do you think that they're getting a lot out of that deal or not a lot?
You're never going to get enough out of a deal for Juan Soto. Dustin
Yeah.
May is electric. He's really, really good, but he's recovering from Tommy John, and
Hmm.
it'll take a while. Dustin May is projected to come back like in September,
Right.
so he's supposed to be like that late push to an already really good Dodgers rotation. And if you want to give up, say like Bobby Miller, Andy Podges, and or whoever, you're
Yeah.
probably gonna have to give up a little bit more than that. I don't really think the prospect haul is going to be worth it if a trade does go through. That's the one click
Right.
about
Right.
Juan Soto.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Drew, where are you looking at Juan Soto to go? Who's your number one? My number one is probably going to be LA. Who do you have Juan Soto going to?
I mean, I like LA because LA is shrewd enough to make something happen. They have the prospects to do it. They have the young pieces. Obviously, you mentioned Dustin May. There's
Mhm.
going to be a good one. You're going to have to acquire a major league like guy that's ready to make an impact right now. I don't think that he's going to the Yankees. That's not possible because if you're going to essentially have to choose Judge or Soto because
I'm taking Judge.
Aaron Judge is a free agent after the season. And if you're gonna choose, Aaron Judge is gone if you bring in Juan Soto because you can't pay both of them. Yes, the Yankees are absolutely willing to shout out the big bucks, but I don't think it's happening for the Yankees. I think the other
Oh, now I'm sorry to cut you off, but now one team that I found very interesting that I saw in a mock trade was a low marketed team in the Tampa Bay Rays. I saw a team like Tampa Bay making that kind of an offer. I don't think that Tampa Bay even has the salary to give Juan Soto that money.
it
What do you
would be it would be very uncharacteristic for the Tampa Bay Rays to
right?
do so. To go get a star like that, um, it's very not on brand for
The,
what
the
Tampa Bay.
national the Rays are the money ball of 2022. They're the money ball of 2020 when they went to the World Series on a $28 million salary cap. I mean, they're looking at trading Drew. This will be the mock trade. It will be two outfielders and Josh Lowe. And I always have a hard time pronouncing his name. Randy Arozarena.
Rosa Reina.
Or Rosarena. And then
Yeah.
they have Taj Bradley, Curtis Med, and Seth Johnson. That is the package that will be offered for Juan Soto if the Rays are calling. The Rays are already a good enough team from number one, their farm system, and from the guys that they have on their team. They're already a good team. Adding Soto to that mix makes them just makes them contenders if they weren't already contenders already. Wouldn't you agree?
Um, if I'm looking at that deal, a Rosarena, Lau, Mead, and who's that last one? Seth Johnson, right?
Yeah, Seth Johnson and Taj Bradley.
Taj Bradley. I think for Soto, I think you're gonna have to take out one of the outfielders and insert Shane Baez, and then you got a deal.
Mhm.
Because that starting pitching is going to be key. The Nationals already have Josiah Gray, and if they add Bradley and then Boz has already made a couple starts at the MLB and he's proven to be very good at the MLB level.
Mhm.
I think that will get the job done,
Right.
but it'll be incredibly surprising because that is a very un-Tampa Bay Rays
Like
move
thing to
to
do.
make. With the trades they make, it's nothing flashy. It's a Drew Rasmussen and a JP Fireeisen last year.
Mhm.
It's a Harold Ramirez or an Isaac Paredes this year. You
Mhm.
know, it's nothing too like to throw your hands up about and go, oh my goodness, the Rays made a huge move.
Mhm.
No, that's not what they do, but they always do seem a step ahead of people when it comes to trades. So who
Absolutely.
knows?
So, Drew, do your dark horse in getting Juan Soto, who would you say? I mean, we've heard some teams like the Mariners. We've heard even my Blue Jays are interested.
I
We've
was gonna say, you want me to make you super duper happy and say the Blue Jays?
Well, I mean, we already know Vladdy was on that trip to go play in the All-Star game. Let's just be real. He was recruiting that boy the whole entire time. Come on, let's just be real. He was recruiting. He wasn't even trying to play. He was on Juan Soto's rear end the way through. But I think personally, who would you
Would
say?
you like to go down that rabbit hole, Nico, and just
I,
hypothetically say what
I
happens? Like, what would the Blue Jays give for Juan Soto? What does
so
that look like to you?
honestly, so what to me personally, what that would look like is probably it's going to be a package probably centered around Gabriel Moreno or Levis Martinez. It's going to be centered around Alek Manoah too. I'm pretty sure they're going to want young, talented guys on that team. As much as I love Alek Manoah, we're going to have to give up a lot to get Juan Soto. And I already know that if we're in the trade discussions for Juan Soto, I love Manoah a lot, but I already know Manoah is going to be gone. Marino was just sent down back to AAA, and we'll have to ship him off to Martinez, a young third baseman that we have in our farm system. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, what would you say for the Blue Jays as a dark horse?
Yeah, I'd say that sounds about right. I think you'd have to definitely give up Manoah,
Mm-hmm.
who major league arm. We've seen what he did this year. Manoah is awesome. Orelvis
I mean,
Martinez probably also gone. If not Gabriel Moreno, Alejandro Kirk. I think if you get away with Manoah and Kirk, and then Martinez, I think like that you can get away with.
right. But that wouldn't that be kind of considered an overpay as we're looking at other teams that are trying to trade? Wouldn't you say that that's more of an overpay if we're giving up two all-star, we're giving up an all-star and two top, I believe top 100, um, maybe top 50, prospects. I mean, wouldn't you think that's kind of an over? Obviously, for Juan Soto, it don't matter what an overpay is. It's either get the man and pay the man. But what
That's
would you?
that's my point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in that hypothetical trade, it does seem like a lot. Manoah, Kirk, and Martinez,
Hmm.
two all stars and a young prospect.
Hmm.
But let's not forget what we're trying to trade for here. That
Juan
would be
Soto.
Juan Soto. He's 23 years old. You
Hmm.
want to lock him down 15 years, half
Hmm.
a billion dollars, which will honestly probably be the market price, as
Hmm.
ridiculous as that is to say. Um, the next $500 million contract since Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude,
yeah, I guess, but you got to do what you got to do.
now let's
And
ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you see now I think you've heard the speculation of the Cardinals. Do you think that I mean where do you think or who are they going to have to give up on the Cardinals for a guy like Juan Soto? Because obviously I'm still learning a lot about this baseball league, whatever and whatnot. But outside of Goldschmidt, you're gonna get and you have Arenado too. Adding Juan Soto has you just an amazing team. Who are they giving up on that
that's,
team?
I mean, that would certainly help. Nolan Gorman is gone. Matthew Liberatore is gone.
Mhm.
Brendan Donovan also probably gone, who has come out of nowhere and been a really solid rookie for the Cardinals this year.
Mhm.
And if if I'm Washington and you go, all right, here's Gorman, Liberatore, and Donovan, it's like, all right, what else can you do for me? I will try to get plus, 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 plus. And given
Mhm.
that this is Juan Soto, not just like in a sense of St. Louis, but in like a league wide sense, the Washington Nationals are basically going to say, all right, who's the highest bidder? And
Mhm.
that's what the deal they're going to take.
Absolutely. Now, are we going to see Drew? Are we going to see a kind of like a Max Scherzer situation where it's do you think that this team is going to how can I say, do you think they're just going to rent Juan Soto or you think they're giving him the pen and the paper and the checkbook and say, here you go, you write down how much you want, boom. What do
I
you think?
definitely, I definitely think whichever team is going to acquire Juan Soto is going to blank check it because that's what you do. Name your
Mhm.
price, but negotiations can carry out a little bit longer because right now Juan Soto has 2 more years. So they get so whatever team would trade for him get 2.5 years of Juan Soto before he could potentially test out free agency.
Right.
So there's like the rift is there between Washington and Juan Soto. I think it's an inevitability. And whichever team acquires Juan Soto doesn't have to rush to sign him, although they definitely will go here, blank check, stay with us as long as you want.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Juan Soto, who won the ring back in 2019 for that Nationals team. And it's just crazy that half a year later from that team being removed as the World Series, or not removed, but after their removal of the World Series championship, they just blew up their team. They thought they'd build it around Soto. Then they paid Steven Strasburg that
That didn't work. That didn't work.
that horrendous deal They gave they let Rendon walk. I mean, that team was a mess after they won that World Series. But you know what? Good for Soto. Soto's gonna get his bag somewhere. But Drew, I think we're finally going to the final part of this episode of where do you think Juan Soto is going out of all of this? I'm going to say he's a Dodger, and if not a Dodger, he's going to be in New York. Now, to where? It's going to be iffy. But who do you?
I'll shut that train right down. He's not going to be a Yankee. He's not a future Yankee. That's for sure.
But a Met?
A Met is a real possibility. I like LA, but I think I'm going to go San Diego here because I remember we were talking off camera. I actually like the idea of a deal for CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, plus.
Would you like me to read you the deal that I read you on the phone?
Sure.
Okay, so it was CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Adrian Morjan, Robert Hassel III, and Joshua Mears.
I think that deal could work. Because if you're getting Abrams, who's cornerstone shortstop potentially, Gore.
He's inconsistent though. Abrams has shown inconsistency throughout this year of 2022.
Yeah, but it's his first taste of the big leagues. Nobody's going to figure it out right away. Right. You can also say Mackenzie Gore's been inconsistent, but Mackenzie Gore shows upside, and that's really all you need. I think that haul will work, and at the end of the day, I think that's the deal that the Nationals will accept. He'll be a Padre.
Oh, okay. He'll be a Padre in Drew's eyes. To me, he'll be a Dodger, and that'll wrap it up.
Not a Blue Jay.
I don't know, man. We're just gonna cross our fingers on the Blue Jay. But personally, I'm more looking at like guys like Luis Castillo, Gregory Soto. That's who I'm looking at. I'm not looking at Juan Soto right now. I'm looking at those guys. I'm looking at bullpen because Jose Barrios. I'm not gonna make this into a Jose Barrios rant. Never mind. We're gonna do that. So Drew,
great undulator. Jose Barrios is God.
No,
Jose Barrios is him.
No, he's not. He's actually her. He's her, not him.
Oh,
but thank you guys for watching today's episode of Baseball for Dummies. Thanks for you, Drew, for coming on. I know this. I literally called Drew up and I was like, "Hey, Drew." He's like, "What?" I was like, "You want to do a video on Juan Soto?" He's like, "Fine." I was like, "Okay, cool." So thank you guys all so much. We're gonna come back and do this again. We have to. This is fun. We have to, since it's literally the only thing that's on TV right now. And not hockey not hockey. I mean basketball or football. But yeah, I'm gonna leave Drew's running the tables links down below in the description below. I'm gonna leave his Instagram, TikToks. Yeah, do you know TikTok? Do you?
Okay. Running the tables on TikTok now.
We'll shout it out for you, and we'll shout out the YouTube channel. So thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for all coming to watch today, and have a good day. Juan Soto to the Blue Jays.
No.